You have to make time to make art. You have to make time to make art. I wish it was just everywhere we went. I'm making art, I'm having artistic conversations, I'm signing things and being like, that's art. But it's not like that. A lot of times you have to schedule your art activities. You have to schedule time to research your concepts. You have to schedule time to write out proposals and grants. Like, these things don't just fall into your lap. You don't just walk into an art museum and they're like, hey, do you want to be a part of this art exhibit? That did happen to me once, but most of the time it's been from me on the computer, just dedicating time like it's a job, casting a pole out there, trying to get something. And you just do that every day. Every day, just make some time to cast out into the universe, to plant a seed, and maybe it'll grow someday. Maybe they'll write you back and be like, that's a great idea. I'd love for you to be part of this. You know, reach out to people. In this day and age, you were born in such an amazing time where you could get in contact with a celebrity, with a museum director, with someone. You were just 2 or 3 people away from someone who would completely change your art career right now. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You could make a connection today that would change your trajectory and you would end up someplace different. It's inspiring. I sometimes think about just how connected everyone is now compared to in the past, when you'd have to go from like door to door or like write a letter or just fill out a form and send it in through like everything is so instant, so quick. You can share your art with the world, and that's what you need to do. That is like the step I am so bad at, is sharing my work. That's why I'm doing this right now. Is I'm done procrastinating. I want to just put it out into the universe. And that's what you need to do today. Like, I know you got something cooking. You need to think of something in your head. You need to just quit the A to B and just get to B. Just start doing it. You know, so much of the time I spend is thinking about this, being like, oh, you know, what's it going to take? Am I going to even be able to do it? Oh, maybe I should buy something, you know? Like, I love to put things off and just, like, buy something as I'm like, I'll wait till this piece of equipment, I'll purchase that, and then I'll be able to do it. But really, you just need to start doing it. You just need to go and learn as you go, you know? Whatever equipment you have right now. You have a cell phone? Great. Take a picture of your art, post it to some social media, just put it out there, you know? Like, it is very draining trying to, you know, keep up with posting to all these different platforms, but maybe there's a way you could streamline it. Maybe there's a quicker way that doesn't take up so much of your time, and you could make it more fun as well, you know? If you can get involved with different art practices and mediums that you enjoy, it'll make the process so much easier. Like, I love working in so many different mediums, and what keeps me involved with the ones I have is that I really enjoy it. It's worth the work. A lot of times I'll be like cut up and bloody and burnt from sculpting and welding, but it's all worth it at the end of the day. I feel like I had fun. So finding those mediums, really like getting involved, putting it out into the universe and making time. Like you might be like, I don't have time. I don't have time to eat. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to visit with my family. My family's always calling me and they're like, you never spend time with us. And I get that. Like, my family's the same way. They're all artists. They're all super cool. And they all want to spend a ton of time with me. And it's like, it's hard to juggle all these things, you know? Like, you might be in school. You might be working. You might have, like, a relationship, someone that you're trying to, like, you know, be involved with. Like, there's a lot to do in the world. But you got to just, like, cut out the stuff that's draining you. You know, the things that after you're done with, you feel like regret. Like, let regret be your judge of what you should and shouldn't do. You know, if after you do it, you feel somewhat regretful, cut that out first. Cut that stuff out of your life first, and maybe you have some extra time, you know, for a little bit. And then the second thing, I know a lot of people are going to hate this, and a lot of you are going to want to turn off the video right now, and maybe you should, but maybe you shouldn't. It's get up earlier. I know, not everyone's a morning person. Some people hate it, but I feel like that is an amazing time for artists. That is a time when not everyone's up, and maybe there's extra energy in the world that we can tap into and use for our creative endeavors. Whatever it is, I love getting up early. I don't have an alarm clock, but I get up way early every morning, and it's just, I get up before everyone else, and it gives me all this free time. I have all this time that I can invest in me, in my art practice, in working out, and planning the rest of my day. Like, if you are able to get up even 1 hour earlier than you are right now, it's way better than staying up at night just watching Netflix. I used to stay up for hours just watching TV shows. And you're tired from the day. You know, you had a full day, and now you're just like running on low energy watching TV. Like, cut that out and replace it at the beginning of the day. Take that hour and then replace it at the beginning of your day, and you'll be so much more productive. I actually have energy to do stuff in the morning. Like, granted, I drink coffee. That might be another thing, is my partner drinks tea, I drink coffee, but maybe something to just, help you get going. That's what I do. But you can make time by just getting up a little earlier. A lot of times we're not being our most productive at night. Some artists love working at night. I've been that person, especially with music. Nighttime is the best, But it doesn't have to be every night, and you can still find ways of being in both worlds. But really just scheduling time, You can find time for your art if you get up before everyone else. You don't have to feel guilty as a parent if you're up before your child to do your art practice. If you can just sacrifice the nighttime guilty pleasures and replace it with like morning workouts, morning just watching videos that help your art practice, help get you in the mindset to make art. Because, as much as it's fun to be like this chaotic artist whose life's in turmoil and they're dealing with all these hardships and they're making amazing art despite all that, it's not the most productive way you can be as an artist. You need to be operating at full efficiency to be the best version of yourself. And the best version of yourself is going to make the best art. As much as we love to torture ourselves as artists to, crank out something that's really like heartfelt and real, like, you don't have to do that. Not every artist does that, and I would recommend being a healthy artist that is productive and happy. If you can do it, there is people. It's not glamorized the same way as like these tortured artists are, and I've been both, and it's so much better to be a happy, positive, productive artist. To be the best artist you can be, you have to be the best version of yourself you can be. And part of that is being healthy, If my diet is really bad, if I'm not working out, if I'm not getting sleep, the art suffers. Everything in my life suffers. That's just the truth. If you want to make good art, if you want to make time to make good art, you have to be in the right mindset. You have to be physically on game. You have to have eaten something, Don't just starve yourself. I love to just eat nothing and drink espressos and make art all day, and it's terrible for you. I get in a hangry, upset place. It's a bad way to make art. You can feed your body, feed your soul, feed your mind, and then make art. When you enter it with just like that balance, with everything in alignment, where your body is fit, you've worked out. As much as like we're not about our body as artists, like it's not about us, you are the tool that makes the art. So if you can be the best version of that tool you can be, then I think you'll make better art, And not that you have to stick with a super strict diet or you have to work out a crazy amount of time, but just being the best healthy version of yourself is when I have made the best art in my life, is when I was able to make art, period. When I was unhealthy, when I was like not at the weight I wanted to be at, dealing with all sorts of dietary and drinking and smoking and all this crap, that's when I was making the worst art, I've always cranked out art. It's just what I've always done. But at the same time, it was terrible. It was superficial. I wasn't able, even though I was like in the studio making the work, it was wasted time. I was wasted, everything. I was bad diet, wasn't sleeping well, just doing everything wrong. And I can tell now, looking back in my work. And I don't want you guys to do that, Like, be the best version of yourself. Whatever unique person you are, lean into that. Like, really lean into that. Think about yourself as a child. Like, who was I as a child? Because a lot of times I feel like children really think about that question. Like, who am I? So they adapt these things. And when you were younger, you might have spent more time understanding yourself than you have in the last 10 years. Than you have in the last, whatever. I just know that I found a lot of insight into my own life by just thinking about my childhood, thinking about what I was into, making art about similar stuff I was interested in, because that person's still in you. That person's still there, and it might be a version of you that hasn't, been tainted by all the experiences you deal with as an artist. And in this world, you get like pushed this way, pushed that way, molded into this and that. But when you were a child, you were just drawn to things in a more like pure way. Like you just liked certain things for whatever your reason. And just maybe to like explore that and like look into that a little bit. But you got to make time for art, like you have to make time for the stuff you don't want to do. Sadly, you have to make time for the stuff you do want to do. You won't just naturally set aside time for anything. Like there is enough time in the day for everything you want to accomplish if you can just get laser focused and prioritize, really fill out the day. Another thing that might help is to break your day into segments. Be like, I'm going to accomplish this in the morning part of my day. I'm going to accomplish this in the afternoon part of my day. And then keep the night times for your family, for your friends. If you're very productive, get up early, get stuff going. You could be done with your day by noon, by 1 o'clock, and have put in 6, 7, 8 hours of like real work by the time other people are like getting back from lunch. And then you can spend the day with your family, connecting, building some sort of like spiritual connection to the world or whatever you're into. You can find time for it, just really cut out the bad habits. I am so drawn to bad habits. It's why so many songs are made about bad habits, is because we're drawn to them. And if you can really figure out what you feel remiss after doing, then cut that out first. You won't just end up at Maui. You got to buy the tickets, you got to plan the vacation, you got to find someone's couch to sleep on and a moped you can drive around the island. But it won't just happen. You have to plan it in order to make that amazing trip happen. So same thing with your life. Plan your life out, Figure out who you would like to be. Try to take a step back and be like, who would I like to be, Am I an artist that wears this, that drives that eats this? Like get really specific with the detail, even though it might seem like superficial and, like why does it matter that I want to ride a Schwinn bicycle, with one leg rolled up of the jean, like that. The more you crystallize it and fill in all the details, the more likely you are to actually accomplishing that and making that into your reality. So I would just get really introspective, think about every little thing. Is there a way you can streamline some of your process? Maybe it's, like food prep. If you're spending a lot of time just thinking about food, I love to daydream just about what I'm going to eat later. It takes up a huge percentage of my time and energy. Maybe there's a way that you could shift that focus onto something like your family or your art practice, or something that at the end of the day you would feel like, wow, that was a really good use of my energy. Because you only have a certain amount of energy, you only have a certain amount of hours, and the people out there that are really moving and shaking the world still have the same amount of hours as everyone else, Yes, they have a lot of people working for them, which would be amazing. To have one person work for you would be incredible. You just double your output, right? But that's not the point. They are still working with the same amount of time, and time is our most valuable resource. And I really appreciate you guys listening to me just talk about making time to make art. You can hit that like and subscribe. See you next time. Make time to make art. Make time to make art.